Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Vineet Pandey, and in this video, we are going to talk about important writers from Elizabethan age, primarily talking about metaphysicals, and then Cavalier writers. Most of the students were asking me that they did not get complete audios on metaphysicals, and though we try to complete, maybe it seems like some problem must have appeared while uploading the audios on website. So, what you have to do right now regarding these writers on the metaphysical group. So I'm going to tell you the most important writers. What you have to do is let me be comfortable so that I can teach you in a comfortable way. First of all, metaphysical, it's they may ask you some easy questions. What do you mean by the word metaphysical? So you must have read in your market guidebooks, past books, like most of the people, those who are coming from state background, we get books where it is written meta is beyond, physical is the world. So something which is beyond the world is metaphysical. No, they're not talking about aliens. Metaphysical doesn't mean alien life on Mars or different planets. Beyond means something unconventional, which was not in the fashion, which was not usual, regular. And physical means the world around them. So when they use the word metaphysical, it was not for some different planets out of the world thing. It was something out of the conventions. Elizabethan poetry, also known as the nest of the singing birds, was famous for lyrical quality, for idealism. It was famous for lyrical quality and idealism. They were talking about ideal love, supremacy of love, devotion, spirituality, platonic love, and moreover, they were also dealing with the ideal friendship. While writing these lyrics, metaphysical writers were following some set patterns, invoking gods, goddesses, making a preface before they would talk about something big, or actually creating a romanticized version. Metaphysical writers broke all these myths. I have few live students here. So I'm just recording this lecture for you. आप चाहो तो बाद में देख सकते हो. So what happens here? All these writers, they were following the set pattern: invocation, preface, background making, romanticized version, and idealism. Metaphysicals, they broke all those conventions, and they were the first people to break the myths of the ideal classical writing standards. They went for colloquial language. Colloquial language means native language, rural language. You can also say like slang language, using a very simple language, daily conversation style. Second thing, they went for abrupt starting, abrupt ending, means no preface making, no background making. All of a sudden, a poet starts with poetry. Hold your tongue, let me love. This is a line by John Donne, and this is the poetry starts. Busy old fool, unruly son, saucy, pedantic, raised. Why do you do so? These lines are from Sun Rising. Apart from these things, they also talked about idealism of love, but showing that love is ideal, love is spiritual, love is powerful. They took various references which were not conventional. How do you praise the beauty of a woman? Like generally, when we praise the beauty of a woman, it has become so old, taking the reference of a rose and a moon. Like people still use it, no? Why the beauty of a woman has always been compared to moon, to rose? Do we have more options to say the same thing? So the metaphysicals, they found those different uh, ideas, and they were like, let's talk about love, but the definition should be different. And that's what they did. They used the example of compass. You must have used compass in mathematics. हम लोग हिंदी में बोलते थे प्रकार. We would call it प्रकार in Hindi. It's like this. One point is needle, one point you fix your pencil. It goes like that. It's used in mathematics. Now imagine a tool which is used in mathematics. It becomes an example of a person who's talking about ideal love. He asks his beloved not to cry. He says that our bodies looks like different. Like maybe your body and my body are two different bodies, but they're like twin compass. So this is you, this is me. Our bodies are different, but we are connected here. This is soul. We are connected here. This is how he used the references. This is how John Donne becomes the one of the best example of metaphysical poets. Now remember this thing, the word metaphysics was coined by Drummond, Drummond. Then Word metaphysics for the first time used by John Dryden when Dryden said Donne was first in certain things and he affects metaphysics. Now remember, students get confused here. Who formed the group, the Metaphysical School of Poetry? Samuel Johnson did that. He formed the group, the Metaphysical School of Poetry. Remember this thing, he did it in his famous work, Lives of Poets, when he was dealing with life of Abraham Cowley. Their student focus on this point, life of Abraham Cowley, not life of John Donne. Most of the students, what they do, if they find this question, because this question is asked in net exam, na? Most of the students, they go for John Donne. They think only John Donne is famous, so John Donne only. Vijaya, thank you. Yeah, I'm suffering from, yeah, Delhi's air is polluted, so kind of, I'm staying in home. But you guys are motivating me. All of you students are motivating me. You're my power, and you're the reason of my smile. So this is some simple. Samuel Johnson coined the group Metaphysical School of Poetry in life of Abraham Cowley. Remember this point. That's the important point. Now, after Samuel Johnson, most of the writers they never studied metaphysicals. They forgot metaphysical writers. John Donne and other writers, they were all totally ignored. They may ask you a question, a very smart question in exam, that how all of a sudden metaphysicals became very famous, metaphysicals became very much known, and people started studying it. It is because of T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot wrote an essay in 1921, The Metaphysical Poets, and talked about the dissociation of sensibility, unification of sensibility. It's because of T.S. Eliot that we will study metaphysicals now. Now, the question comes, what to read, what not. First of all, remember, John Donne is very important. If I'm not wrong, born 1572, dead 1631, famous work, Songs and Sonnets 1633, then Anatomy of the World 1611, Devotion 1624, Essays in Divinity 1651, Pseudo Martyr is 1610, Progress of the Soul is 1601. I may be wrong in last two. Please check that. And yes, tell me if I'm wrong. Please write it here if I'm wrong. So John Donne, he was like he married his one of his beloved, and he was working for someone. He married the niece of his own boss, and for this thing he was imprisoned because that lady was below 18 or below, like she was not young. After this, John got released. John Donne was heavily dependent on his friends because he was not rich man, and his father-in-law was also annoyed. So technically, he had no money, and he had 13 kids. 13 बच्चे थे उसके. लालू यादव से inspired था वो. So he had 13 kids. It was very tough for him to maintain life. And then he started writing and giving freelance speeches like sermons. He started preaching, giving hymns, writing hymns for churches. And that's how he became the dean of St. Paul Church. So when he became the dean of St. Paul Church, John Donne started earning well. He started going for some lectures known as devotions and essays in divinity. Along with these things, John Donne's famous work is Sun Rising. It takes Oriental reference. So make sure you remember Sun Rising and some important lines. He says, busy old fool, unruly son, saucy pedantic race, why do you do so? So here, poet is talking to the god because sun is god, Apollo. It's the 17th century work, and imagine talking to a god like this, calling the god a busy old fool, that you are an old man, you're a fool. It's something unusual. That's what they are called metaphysicals. Jordan says, why do you peep through our windows? We are lovers. So early morning, the sun rays, they enter in your bedroom, in your chamber, and that's how they disturb you. He says that sun should be apologetic. Why? Because it enters in our room without knocking. We are the lovers. And then amazing philosophy, he says, she is all states and all princes I. So in short, he says that this is the love, the world is made of love. He talks about the Indian minds, he talks about the people, they're doing their duties, he talks about the astronomical references. That's how sunrising becomes very important. Then we have elegy written on an unfortunate, no, sorry, wait, hold on. uh, Elegy on his mistress going to bed. Elegy on a mistress going to bed. That's the important one. Sun Rising and Elegy on his mistress going to bed. They are separately uploaded on my channel, UGC Netwala channel. You can watch it for separate details. Now, what happens here? It talks about his lady, and it's the intimate details. He's like getting involved physically with his lady, and how he talks about the beauty of the lady, how he talks about that, how he's going to claim the lady or conquer the body of the lady. It is actually that reference which becomes post-colonial reference. Women's body is a colony here, and he talks like a colonizer. He talks like somebody who controls it, who talks like somebody who owns it. So make sure you remember these lines. He says uh, there is a word, allow me, or something like permit me. There is some word. So he says, my roving hands, allow my roving hands, and I am the one to explore you. And he says, oh my America, my newfound land, safeliest with one man manned. So that's what you have to remember here. And along with these things, then you have to remember canonization, the relic, then go and catch a falling star. Go and catch a falling star becomes very important because he has talked about women, he has criticized women, and moreover, he has given some references. So they may ask you that what are those reasons? Yes, Mehboob Alam, thank you so much. License my roving hands. So in Go and Catch a Falling Star, he has given many references. You have to remember catching the falling star, getting a child from the Mandrake route, then telling where all past days have gone, then riding on a horse for 10,000 days and night, hear the mermaid singing, and solving the unsolved mythology. In short, and to see the invisible things. He has given you some impossible things which are possible. Now, what you have to do is remember those things what he has talked about. Like क्या क्या उसने बोला है इस poetry में. He says it's possible to catch a comet, to get a child from the Mandrake route, to talk about all the days where they have gone, to see the invisible things, to solve unsolved mythologies like who cleft devil's foot, to hear the mermaid singing. So all these things are possible, but one thing is not possible, and that's to get a lady true and fair. You will never find that. That's what he says. Along with these things, also remember valediction, forbidden mourning, because here he talks about as virtuous men pass mildly away and whisper their souls to go. So he says that we are lovers, we are not earthly lovers. He is going somewhere, his beloved is crying. He says, don't cry for me. If you cry for me, our love will become earthly love, and it will be like common love. But we are spiritual lovers. You know that our souls are interconnected. So my body is going away, but I'm always with you. And here he says that if they are two, they be two, just like the twin compass. Along with these things, you can read Good Morrow and few other works, but I suggest you not to go in the depth of all those things. Mostly remember the 3 to 4 poetry that I've told you. The canonization, the relic, ecstasy is important. You should also go for sun rising and elegy on his masters going to the bed. These are the important ones. Apart from these things, all other metaphysical writers, only Abraham Cowley is somewhat important. Otherwise, just focus Andrew Marvell to his core mistress. To His Coy Mistress is a world classic. It's a famous work. A boy, a person who is convincing his lady, his beloved, to be intimate, so that because the time is going forward and time is moving, time is passing by. So the way he talks to convince his lady, taking the references, example, and keeps on talking about the timing, it becomes very important. It is also the part of carpe diem philosophy. So when you waste time on other writers, I suggest you focus on John Donne and Andrew Marvell, and just remember Abraham Cowley's basic details. No need to go in the depth of anything. Yes, coy mistress is very important, so don't forget the lines. Had we but the world enough, O lady, this coyness were no crime. Thou by the side of Indian Ganges should rubies find, and I by the tide of Humber. So something like that. And then he says that thy beauty shall no more sound, my echoing sound, nor be sound in the marble vault, and thy long preserved virginity will be tried by the worms. So he says, at my back I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying later. So make sure you remember the lines because I remember all those quotes, so I can identify, I can answer. What you have to do is आप भी कीजिएगा. Yes, Jyoti Lamba, not vegetarian love, vegetative love. Vegetative love means जो हमारे हार्मोन्स होते हैं, जिसको हम बोल सकते हैं कि वी कैन सिंपली से जो हमारे लव मेकिंग हार्मोन्स होते हैं, वो हार्मोन्स वो जूसेस जिसे हम बोल सकते हैं, जो लव मेकिंग होते हैं, जो हमारे इमोशंस को एक दूसरे के लिए अट्रैक्ट करवाते हैं। तो वेजिटेटिव स्टेट वो उसकी बात कर रहे हैं। उसमें आप मतलब वो हार्मोन्स की कोशिश कहना चाह रहा है कि वी आई एम माय इमोशंस, माय फ्लूइड्स आर देयर फॉर यू, माय हार्मोन्स आर देयर फॉर यू। सो दैट्स व्हाट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट वेजिटेटिव स्टेट। एसवी सागर जी, कंप्लीट कल्चर स्टडीज भैया हो चुका है, एक और ऐड कर रहा हूँ उसमें पॉइंट, टेंशन मत लो। दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस, जो मिल रहा है उसे नहीं चाहिए, जो नहीं मिल रहा है उसको रोते रहते हो, बहुत नुकसान हो जाएगा पेपर में। फोकस व्हाट आई एम गिविंग राइट नाउ, राइट? How do you go to eat in the marriage? What do you do? If you think in the marriage you have a plate, you got some rice, some dal, some curd, some sweets, and you're still wondering, I didn't get rasgulla, I didn't get jalebi, you won't be able to enjoy this, right? So इसको कर लो, बाकी चीजें भूल जाओ, okay? होता रहेगा, focus कर लो. Now, in Cavaliers, focus on Robert Herrick and Richard Lovelace, and no need to go in the depth. Whatever I have taught you is more than enough. They never ask questions in depth from Cavaliers. So, technically, remember who are Cavalier writers, why they're also known as Caroline poets, why they're also called Son of Ben Jonson. Remember the differences: courtly love, courtly romance, and heroic couplet. Along with these things, Robert Herrick is famous for his famous song To the Virgins to Make the Best of Time. There is a line, gather you rosebuds while in May, because the same flower that smells tomorrow, tomorrow shall be dying. So remember this line? Richard Lovelace to Lucasta, to Althea from prison, these are very important. So to Lucasta going to war, he says, I love not I love not thee, but the honor more. He says, like, I love the honor. And to Althea from prison, he says that nor iron bars nor gaze can make the bars, and a soul is always a kind of hermit's soul. So it's free, it's independent. Just remember William D. Avenant and other writers, basic timings, basic titles, nothing else. Then we go for the Puritan writers. There are two important Puritan writers. The first one we have is John Milton. We all know John Milton is very important. So whatever I have taught, make sure you remember in audio lectures. सब कुछ याद करके जाओ. Milton, his timing from 1608 to 1674. Then his first work, Nativity Ode, 1629. 1631. 1631, he wrote. Okay, hold on. Lycidas, he wrote 1634. El Allegro Il Pensereso is 1631. 16. Sorry, Lycidas is 1637. 1634 है El Allegro Il Pensereso. 1631 कौन सा book है? I just missed it. थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज हो गया हूं मैं, मेरी भी मेमोरी काम नहीं कर रही है. 1644 is Areopagitica. 1667 is Paradise Lost. 1671 is Samson Agonist and Paradise Regained. Yes, 67 and 74. थोड़ा सा मिस्टेक हो रहा है मुझे भी. 1631 मिल्टन का कौन सा वर्क है? Yes, it's sonnet. Yes, it's sonnet. नहीं, मॉर्निंग ओड ऑन द नेटिविटी मॉर्निंग वाला है, दैट्स 1629. 1631 is a sonnet on arriving at the age of 23. So you make sure remember that. 1642 में सिविल वॉर हुआ था and this main joined it. Paradise Regained and Paradise Thamson Agonist in 1671 होना चाहिए. So make sure remember that. Milton is very important. Personal life, second defense of English people in Econ Basilic, Iconoclast, Gordon का क्या लिखा है, I'm sure आपको आता होगा. John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. First part is 1678, second part is 1684. Both of these parts are important. Grace Abounding, only title, and Life and Death of a Mr. Badman is only title, no need to read. Bunyan's Holy War is 1682. Again, no need to read. श्वेता, आपको याद नहीं हो रहा है, मुझे तो याद है, सिर्फ मैंने रिवीजन नहीं किया है. सी आई नो माई मिस्टेक, मैंने रिवीजन नहीं किया है, मुझे तो रिवीजन एक बार करना पड़ेगा. बट जस्ट रिवाइज इट. Intersectional feminism is simple, that any meaning, any identity is not fixed in one context, it's in various contexts. Intersectional feminism मैं आपको दोबारा समझा दूंगा, don't worry, टेंशन मत लो. द्रिवश्या जी शॉर्ट स्टोरीज का लिस्ट दिया हुआ है ऑनलाइन ग्रुप में है, चेक दैट. अमेरिकन भी हो चुका है आपका, पोस्ट मॉडर्न भी हो चुका है, बट मैं आपको ये इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर्स की लिस्ट मिल जाएगी, इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर्स की लिस्ट आपको मिल जाएगी. Or I'll be sure that postmoderns, Americans, Indians, all the important list you'll be getting by tomorrow. I have invited Gurpreet ma'am. By the evening, she'll be here, and we both will sit together on live sessions. I'll be helping you with all the important books, writers, their names, and what should you do right now. Last 15 days. Don't worry, just stay connected. ठीक है. जॉन बनियन कर लो. उसके बाद don't forget Isaac Walton, Complete Angler 1653. Anatomy of Melancholy, Robert Burton, 1621. That's very important. Don't forget that. And 1642, Religio Medici, Thomas Brown. That's very important. ये तीन चार works और देख के जाओ. Jeremy Taylor, you can leave. If you want to leave Jeremy Taylor, you can leave. So these are the important writers that you have to do right now. Do not go in unnecessary details of unnecessary writers. Trust me, no need to go in the depth of Cavalier writers. In Metaphysicals, repeating once again, only John Donne, Andrew Marvell, and basic detail of Abraham Cowley. Basic detail. You can also do just remember the title of the poetry's Temple and Easter Wings by George Herbert. Otherwise, no need to read anything. Basically, these are enough, right? So don't worry, I'll be helping you. And before I switch it off, before I go, let me see how many of you are prepared. So let's start with the easy question. William Shakespeare's birth date. लिखो जल्दी से. Let's see. Birth of William Shakespeare. जल्दी से बताओ. Fastest. I want to see your answers. Shabash. 1564. 1564. Very nice. Now the question comes, name the person who published Shakespearean sonnets and also tell me the year in which all Shakespearean sonnets were published. अब बताओ. Name the person who published Shakespearean sonnets and also tell me the year, in which year that person published all Shakespearean sonnets. Gulnaz Ali, आपका मैसेज देख लिया मैंने गुलनाज जी. I'll try to do that. Not AC Bradley. Why are you writing AC Bradley? Did I teach you AC Bradley? Thomas Thorpe. Yes, Yogesh Sharma is right. Thomas Thorpe. And timing is 1609. Somebody has written Azab name है 1609. पूजा शर्मा 1906 कहां से आ गया? शेक्सपियर नहीं था उस टाइम. Thomas Thorpe 1609. Name the two actors who published all Shakespearean plays and tell me the year. देखें जरा बेसिकली आपको कितना आता है. Name two actors who published Shakespearean plays and also tell me the year. In which year two actors published all the Shakespearean plays? Aarti Patil, Jordan's that poem is erotic, but again depends the way you read. मैंने उसको पोस्ट कॉलोनियल पॉइंट ऑफ से पढ़ा था तो मुझे इरोटिक नहीं लगा, कॉलोनाइज वाला लगा. Conceits are simply the unusual references, bas. Unusual references. Hamming and Condell in 1623. Very nice, very nice. Yogesh Sharma, you're rocking very good. बहुत बढ़िया. Now we go for a tough question. Let's see in which Shakespearean comedy slapstick style has been used. Slapstick style has been used. पढ़ाया है मैंने. Comedy of Errors, Dravisha Rai, बहुत बढ़िया. No, not Gentlemen of Verona. Comedy of Errors. It's Comedy of Errors. Comedy of Errors. Don't forget. You know what, friends? Shakespeare के basic questions I'm asking you. Basic questions. That's what you have to do. Means revision करो. पढ़ाने का क्या फायदा हुआ? I ask the same question that I've taught. They won't ask these kind of easy questions. These are basic things. Revision karo. Basically revision. Leave new things, new topics. No need to read new. You know, आधी छोड़ पूरी को धावे, पूरी मिले ना आधी पावे. If you leave the half and try to catch the whole, you will leave the half also. So better you protect the half. So जो knowledge है पहले उसको protect करो. Thank you so much. जल्दी मिलते हैं. आज 3-4 वीडियो और मिलेंगे आपको एक साथ. Indians, Americans, postmoderns. I'll be seeing you soon. Bye bye. And पढ़ते रहो.